Hello guys, today we'll be updating my chart, my predictions for Tesla and NVIDIA. You guys remember that I do monthly predictions, and I do weekly updates on these predictions. And so far so good, but we have the first surprises. It's actually the first surprise on the 24th of July. That day was a very big concerning dip for nearly all stocks. I covered this in my last video when I told you guys that this was a sign, a very clear sign that the economy is in trouble. I'm not trying to tell you that it's an apocalyptic time or whatever. I just want to make it clear, guys, to you all that this means, and all the current events that are happening in quick succession, all of them have to do with the fact that the economy is going to go through some dramatic and very incredible changes in the next couple months and in the next years as we approach the end of this decade. But this is not a topic, that's not a topic for today, and today we'll be covering the updates starting from July 18. I think it's a good day to cover all of these updates. So this chart is for Tesla, and what we got is that every single circle is correct except on the 24th of July, but on the 18th of July we got a red day. That's what we were predicting right here. Actually, the downtrend also happened on the 17th of July, but on the 18th of July we saw what was in a sense the beginning of the end. In this case, you can see that even though the price recovers on the 22nd of July, it's actually a sign. It's a very clear sign that the price is going down and it's having trouble staying up and going upwards. So you can see that the price in this case on July 18 ends on a similar but lower position than the one we started. It was kind of a yellow day, but the next day is what really consolidates that red trend that we saw both on July 17 and 18. And you can see that July 19, the price collapses and it finishes on a much lower position. However, with 22 of July, we saw that the price recovers a little bit. It begins on a higher position and also ends on a higher position compared to July 19. But this is the first and so far really the only error that I can find on this chart, because on that day, 22 of July, we were expecting a red day, and it happened the exact opposite. We saw an uptrend, a very clear uptrend. Now this downtrend, on the 22nd of July, this is the only red circle left in this chart. After these days, all of them are either yellow or red, green. So you could say that this red energy happened, but like a couple days later with July 24. Now on July 23, we also saw some negative energies, some red trends for that day. Maybe not as dramatic as the previous days, especially for example July 19, but on July 23 we saw that the price declined from the previous position, where it basically we saw this kind of almost like a resistance level, a slightly lower but very similar nonetheless. But the price collapses on that day. And really the surprise begins right here on July 24. That day, the entire market, all stocks, they all woke up to this news that it was one of the worst days since 2022 for the SP 500. Like I said, many stocks got into trouble in that day. Red day in almost single thing. I think even on crypto we saw some troubles, but I could be wrong because I don't remember correctly. But this is a very unexpected day. It really caught this prediction by surprise in that sense, because like I said, the only red day, the only red circle we were contemplating for this final week of the month was on the 22nd of July. After that, no other red circles were present in the chart. Now on the 25th of July we saw a slight recovery, but on the 26th, which is Friday, we saw more like a yellow day. This goes along with this red yellow circle that we got here on the 25th or 26th. You could say that both of these days were yellowish, but that energy is especially very present on the 26th of July. You can see that the price dumps, recovers, and finishes on a lower but similar position to the one we started. And also we can see that the 25th of July was a green trend, but not really that powerful, like I said. Now the next days that we have to cover will be on Monday 29 and Tuesday 30th of July. Basically the last circle of this chart, which I am expecting to be a green day, green uptrends for either one of these 2 days, or could be both, judging from the good luck that we're seeing since the Trump effect, especially on NVIDIA and cryptocurrencies. This is on Tesla, so it's maybe not that big on this stock, but in other ones that I have analyzed, it's very powerful, that so-called Trump effect that I would like to call. Now let's look at NVIDIA, and you can see right here that it immediately looks like a very similar chart in that sense as the one that we just analyzed for Tesla. You got the downtrends for July 16 and also for July 18, but July 18 was also a very yellowish day because you can see the price dumps and immediately recovers like in a V-shape kind of form, and that's what happens on that day. On July 22, we also got in this chart a red circle. You can see that it's right here, July 22. But what we got, just like the one that we saw on Tesla, was a green day with a slight red energies, but nonetheless the position ends on a higher start than the one we got in the first couple hours. So that's what we got on the 22nd of July. 23rd of July was a yellowish day in this regard. You can remember that on Tesla, that day was more strongly on the uptrendy, but right here with NVIDIA we saw the opposite. We saw that this day is basically a downtrend, very slight downtrend, but nonetheless the price does end on a much lower position than the one we started. And then you can see that right here the fall on the 24th of July was even more pronounced on NVIDIA, is even more dramatic, and this covers this green circle right here, 23 and 24, or 24 alternative days, and you can see that both of them, we were expecting green days for these days, and we got the exact opposite. So far the only circles in this chart NVIDIA that are in error are this green circle and the one on the red with the 22nd of July. We saw the recovery, a very powerful recovery, and the 25th of July the price jumps, but it lacks the strength to continue going upwards and doesn't really do much after that. In fact, it kind of collapses, and this trend is replicated on the next day, which is Friday 26th of July. Tries to recover, dumps, recovers, dumps even lower. So you can see that Friday 26th was a red day. There's lots of volatility in these days, especially in the 25th, which corresponds to this yellow circle, which has consecutive days, 25 or 20 and 26. And you can see that there's some volatility, especially on the 25th of July, and a more lower scale on the 26th of July. So that's what we got, guys. As you can see, and like I said in my previous video, you need to watch it, because for me to prove the point of what the economy will look like in the future in this video I'm already out of time. So watch that previous video so you get the context of what I really said on that very important note, and I'll be seeing you guys next time. Take care.